This time, lesson 26, week 26 of 52. We're going to cover 1 Kings 15 through 22, 2 Chronicles 13 through 16, Psalms 84 and 82, and the book of Obadiah. Last time we saw Solomon's heart turned away from God. This time, a series of evil kings enter into a civil war between the two kingdoms. And there was a war between Rehoboam and Jeroboam all the days of his life. 1 Kings 15:6. God's plan for a united kingdom of Israel with one king over a God-fearing nation had come to an end, as Israel was at war with itself. King Rehoboam of the southern kingdom, Judah, and King Jeroboam of the northern king, Israel. Satan would influence both kingdoms to backslide into idol worship, but the northern kingdom would fare worse, as every king except one would permit the practice of idolatry. Of the 20 rulers of the southern kingdom, or Judah, only 8 would follow God like King David, with 4 of them leading spiritual reforms. And it came to pass that God smote Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah. And the children of Israel fled before Judah, and God delivered them into their hand. And Abijah and his people slew them with a great slaughter. So there fell down slain of Israel 500,000 men. The children of Judah prevailed, because they relied upon the Lord God of their fathers. Neither did Jeroboam recover, and the Lord struck him, and he died. 2 Chronicles 13:15 through 20. Judah defeated Israel with God's help. Good King Asa. He had no war in those days, because the Lord had given him rest. For he took away the altars of the strange gods and the high places, and broke down the images, and commanded Judah to seek the Lord God of their fathers, and to do the law and the commandments. And Asa had an army of Judah 300,000, and Benjamin 280,000. 2 Chronicles 14:3 through 8. He would need it, because his 10 years of peace was interrupted by a vast foreign army. And there came out against them Zerah the Ethiopian with a host of 1,000,000 chosen men, being mighty men of valor. And Asa went out to battle him. And Asa cried unto the Lord his God, Help us, O Lord. In thy name we go against this multitude. Let no man prevail against thee. The Lord smote the Ethiopians before Asa. They smote all the cities and returned to Jerusalem. 2 Chronicles 14:9. The Ethiopian invasion was defeated, again with God's help. And the Spirit of God came upon Azariah, the son of Obed, and he went out to meet Asa, and said to him, The Lord is with you, while you be with him. But if you forsake him, he will forsake you. 2 Chronicles 15:1 and 2. And when Asa heard these words, he put away the abominable idols out of all the land of Judah and Benjamin, and entered into a covenant to keep the Lord God of their fathers with all their heart and soul. 2 Chronicles 15:8 through 12. That whosoever would not seek the Lord God of Israel should be put to death, whether small or great, whether man or woman. All Judah rejoices at the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart, and sought him with their whole desire, and he was found of them. 2 Chronicles 15:13 through 15. King Asa attempted to prompt Judah to return to the pledge given Moses to serve none other than the God of Israel, and those who refused, that is, idol worshippers, were to be put to death as the law required, and thou shalt stone him with stones that he die. And also concerning the mother of Asa the king, he removed her from being queen, because she had made an idol in a grove, and Asa cut down her idol and stamped it out and burned it at the brook of Kidron. 15:16. But the high places were not taken away out of Israel. But the heart of Asa was perfect in all his days. 15:17. Asa could not control what went on in the northern kingdom. He had control only of his southern kingdom. And Abijah slept with his fathers, and they buried him in the city of David. And Asa his son reigned in his stead. And 41 years reigned he in Jerusalem, and Asa did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord, as did his father. 1 Kings 15:8. Solomon was followed by Rehoboam, who was followed by Abijah, who was followed by Asa as kings of Judah. There they are on the right. And Nadab, the son of Jeroboam, began to reign over Israel, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father. He made Israel to sin. 1 Kings 15:25 and 26. Baasha slayed Nadab and took the throne. He did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of Jeroboam. He made Israel to sin. 15:33 and 34. Again to the right. One evil king after another in the northern kingdom, none of them in the lineage of King David. Began Elah, the son of Baasha, to reign over Israel. And Zimri went in and smote him and killed him, and reigned in his stead. For all the sins of Baasha, and the sins of Elah his son, by which they sinned, made Israel to sin, in provoking the Lord God of Israel to anger with their vanities. 1 Kings 16:8 through 13. But Omri took the throne when Zimri committed suicide, wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord, and did worse than all that were before him. 1 Kings 16:25. Again to your right, the kings of the northern kingdom. The kings of Israel were going from bad to worse. So Omri slept with his fathers, and Ahab his son reigned in his stead. 1 Kings 16:28. When one thinks Satan cannot cause man's nature to become more evil, he did. And Ahab the son of Omri did evil in the sight of the Lord above all that were before him. 1 Kings 16:30. King Omri made a peace treaty with the Phoenicians, later known as Tyre and Sidon, and secured it with the marriage of Ahab and Jezebel, daughter of the king of Phoenicia. And he took to wife Jezebel, the daughter of Ethbaal, king of the Zidonians, and went and served Baal and worshipped him. And he reared up an altar for Baal in the house of Baal, which had been built in Samaria. And Ahab made a grove. And Ahab did more to provoke the Lord God of Israel to anger than all the kings of Israel that were before him. 1 Kings 16:31 through 33. Jumpin' Jehoshaphat. And Jehoshaphat his son reigned in his stead, and strengthened himself against Israel. And the Lord was with Jehoshaphat, because he walked in the ways of his father David, and sought not unto Baalim. And his heart was lifted up in the ways of the Lord. Moreover, he took away the high places and groves out of Judah. He sent to teach in the cities of Judah, and had the book of the law of the Lord with them. 2 Chronicles 17, 1 through 9. Jehoshaphat succeeded good King Asa to the throne of Judah, and like his father was a man of God, implementing a second spiritual revival. He tore down more pagan sites and sent teachers throughout Judah to teach the law of Moses to the Jewish people. To the right, Jehoshaphat, son of Asa. And the fear of the Lord fell upon all the kingdoms of the lands that were round about Judah, so that they made no more war against Jehoshaphat. 2 Chronicles 17:10. And Elijah the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of Gilead, said unto Ahab, As the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. 1 Kings 17:1. Ahab and Jezebel. To the right, Jehoshaphat, king of Judah, at the same time. Elijah, which means Yahweh is my God, was called to go to the palace of King Ahab and Queen Jezebel of the northern kingdom, and inform him that his God was the only true God of the Israelite people, not Baal, who was their God of rain. Get the hints. And so he went and did according to the word of the Lord. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning and in the evening. And he drank of the brook. And it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. 17, 3 through 7. Elijah obeyed God, hid from Ahab as he waited for the drought, which would last 3.5 years, while the ravens fed him. And the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, Arise, get thee to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. 1 Kings 17:8. Next, God directed Elijah to go to the hometown of Jezebel, where a widow would feed him. When he got there, Elijah asked for a drink of water, and then for something to eat. 17:10 and 11. And she answered, As the Lord liveth, I have not a cake, but a handful of meal and a little oil. 17:12. A poor Syrophoenician woman, a Gentile, who believed in the God of the Israelites. Where will we see this again? But he, Christ, said, It is not meet to take the children or Israel's bread and cast it to the dogs or the Gentiles. Matthew 15:26, meaning that God's plan was directed first to Israel. The woman persisted, and she said, True, Lord, yet the dogs eat of the crumbs which fall from the master's table. And Jesus answered, O woman, great is thy faith, and her daughter was made whole from that very hour. Matthew 15:27 and 28. God was blessing Israel because of his covenant promises. However, these two events show that a small number of Gentiles believed in the God of Israel and were blessed secondarily. And Elijah said unto her, Fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it to me, and after make for thee and for thy son. And she went and did according to the saying of Elijah, and she and he and her house did eat many days. 1 Kings 17, 13 through 16. God had enough to spiritually feed everyone, Jews and Gentiles. And it came to pass that the son of the woman fell sick, that there was no breath left in him. And she said to Elijah, What have I to do with thee, O thou man of God? And he stretched himself upon the child 3 times, and cried unto the Lord, and said, O Lord my God, I pray thee, let this child's soul come into him again. And he revived. 1 Kings 17, 17 through 24. This event represented the power of God in that it was the first instance of someone being resuscitated from death. Its hidden meaning, combined with that of the Syrophoenician woman during Christ's earthly ministry, was that God had a plan to revive the Gentiles, in addition to that of his nation Israel. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go show thyself unto Ahab, I will send rain upon the earth. 1 Kings 18:1. In the 3rd year of the drought, God sent Elijah to inform Ahab that it would soon end, but it would involve a test between the prophet of God and the prophets of Baal. And Elijah said unto the 450 prophets of Baal, Choose you one bullock, call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under it. 1825. So they called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. But there was no voice. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them. 1826 and 27. Cry louder, said Elijah. Maybe he's busy. Maybe he took a trip. Maybe he's asleep. Wake him up. They tried harder, even committing self-mutilation. 1828. But nothing worked. 1829. Now it was Elijah's turn. And Elijah said unto all the people, Come near unto me, bring 12 stones. So they built an altar in the name of the Lord. And he made a trench about the altar. And they put wood in order, and said, Fill 4 barrels of water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. Do it a 2nd time. Do it a 3rd time. And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench with water. Elijah said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day thou art God in Israel. 1 Kings 18, 30 through 36. Would God grant Elijah's request? Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, and licked up the water in the trench. And when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces, and they said, The Lord, He is the God. 1 Kings 18, 38 and 39. And Elijah said unto them, Take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. So Elijah brought them down to the brook Kish and slew them there. 1 Kings 18:40. To the right is a statue of Elijah on Mount Carmel in Israel. After the slaughter of the prophets of Baal, Elijah went back up on Mount Carmel to pray for rain. And Elijah went up to the top of Carmel, and he cast himself down upon the earth, and he said to his servant, Go now, look toward the sea. There is nothing. Go again, 7 times. And the 7th time, there ariseth a little cloud out of the sea. And God said, Go up, say unto Ahab, Prepare thy chariot, that the rain stop thee not. Was black with clouds, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel, and the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and ran before Ahab. 1 Kings 18:40 through 46. Elijah made a mockery of Ahab and his prophets of Baal, and even returned to the king's palace in a foot race to tell Queen Jezebel all that had happened. Despite his faith at Carmel, Elijah led a 24-hour death threat from Jezebel, 1 Kings 19:2, to completely unravel him. First he hid and asked God to die, 19:4. An angel gave him food and water, 19:6, for the journey he was about to take. Though not told to, Elijah went on a 40-day, 200-mile journey from Beersheba to Mount Sinai. Elijah was running away in fear, 19:3. The death threat on him caused him to be so depressed, he believed all in Israel had abandoned God, and he was the only one left. For the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant. I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. 19:10. In a cave on Mount Sinai, the Lord informed him there were still 7,000 in Israel who had not bowed their knee to Baal. 19:18. It was time to appoint a new prophet. So he departed thence and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with a 12 yoke of oxen. Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him, and he left the oxen and ran after Elijah. I will follow thee. 1 Kings 19:19. Elisha immediately accepted the call of God. Their evil was shown when they had a neighbor murdered when he refused to sell them a vineyard. 1 Kings 21:1 through 16. Elijah met Ahab in the vineyard and told him, Thus saith the Lord, in the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, your neighbor, shall dogs lick your blood. 21:19. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. 21:25 and 26. Ahab and Jezebel's evil days should have been up, but and it came to pass, when Ahab heard those words, that he rent his clothes and put sackcloth upon his flesh and fasted. The word of the Lord came to Elijah, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbles himself before me? I will not bring the evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. 1 Kings 21:27 through 29. An evil man had a change of heart, and was spared the destruction due him. But his evil does not go unpunished, and will fall upon his son. Ahaziah, the son of Ahab, began to reign over Israel and Samaria, and he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father and mother, for he served Baal, and worshipped him, and provoked to anger the Lord God of Israel. 1 Kings 22 51 through 53. Named Jumpin' Jehoshaphat because of the next battle he would win for the Lord, next faced a fierce battle from the nations to his south. Thus saith the Lord, Be not afraid nor dismayed by reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours but God's. The same promise of faith David made before fighting Goliath. When the king's army came to the invading armies, all they found were dead men. The Lord had put them in a crossfire, and they shot and killed each other. And when Judah came to the wilderness, they looked into the multitude, and behold, there were dead bodies fallen to the earth, and none escaped. 20:24. Now Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers, and was buried in the city of David, and Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. He wrought evil in the eyes of the Lord. 21:1 and 6. The Lord would not destroy the house of David, as he promised to give a light to him and his sons forever. 21:7. King Jehoram of the south, an evil king, replacing good King Jehoshaphat. God upheld the Davidic covenant made with King David. Ahaziah succeeded Jehoram after given an incurable disease of the bowels, who also did evil, 22:4, and was then killed by Jehu, 22:9. Athaliah, Ahaziah's wicked mother and daughter of Jezebel, took revenge and had all the royal family of Judah killed. With no males remaining except for an infant, Jehoash, who was hid for 6 years, 22:12, she ruled as queen of Judah during that time. Jehoash assumed the throne at age 7, who then had the evil queen put to death. 2 Chronicles 23:15. To the right, Ahaziah, Athaliah, Jehoash. Jehoiada, high priest under Jehoash, carried out the third spiritual reform, broke down the house of Baal, and reestablished burnt offerings to God. And Jehoiada made a covenant between him and between all the people, that they should be the Lord's people. 2 Chronicles 23:16. The 8th century BC was a bloody, evil time, but God raised up Jehoiada to do his work of keeping the Mosaic Law. Obadiah, which means worshiper of Yahweh, internal evidence seems to fix the date of Obadiah's ministry in the reign of the bloody Athaliah at about 878 BC. First of the writings of the prophets, Old Scofield Bible, page 941. The first of the minor prophets, Obadiah, the shortest book in the Old Testament, it is one of bleakness during a largely godless period of Israel's past, a book of God's judgment on the enemies of Israel. The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Thou art greatly despised. Esau, violence against thy brother Jacob. Obadiah 1 through 14. God had nothing good to say about Edom, a constant enemy of Israel, founded by Esau, the brother of Jacob. For the day of the Lord is near upon the heathen. There be not any remaining of the house of Esau. Verse 16. The remnant of Edom will be totally annihilated during the tribulation. But upon Mount Zion shall be deliverance. The house of Jacob shall possess thy possessions. or 17. They have said, "Come, let us, Edom, cut them, Israel, off from being a nation." Psalms 84:4. Arise, O God, judge the earth, for thou shalt inherit all nations. Psalms 82:8. Next time, the ministry of the prophets Elijah, Elisha, and Jonah. We're going to cover 2 Kings 1 through 15 and the book of Jonah.